What's up? Welcome back to Jazzketball Podcast. Yeah. Jazz look to bounce back tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers, who seem to be on a little bit of a streak. Alan, Kevin, what's up? Kevin, it's good to have you back on the podcast for sure. Will Hardy last game said, "We lost this game with our lack of defensive intensity. The team's defense tonight was not there." Um, it was weird because they did look tired, and I thought maybe they stayed in a really bad hotel. Maybe that was part of Washington's Wizards game plan. Is like we're gonna book them a hotel. I would imagine the Jazz booked the hotel, but what if they just stayed in a really bad hotel with bad mattresses and they didn't get good sleep the night before? I mean, that could have affected them. They didn't look like themselves. But anyways, Hardy said he's glad that there's another game tonight, which I am too. It's expected that we lose a few. Again, the free throws I think is what stood out, but looking on to Philadelphia 76ers tonight, I think the consensus from post-game last podcast or last episode was we need to stop Maxey. And I agree. He's young. He's athletic. I believe he's their leading scorer. And James Harden will be out tonight. So I did a little poll on Twitter before saying, who would you like to see start against Embiid? I put Olynyk, Azubuike, and Kessler, and then I also put other. And Olynyk is winning, or was winning when I checked this afternoon. I think Kessler needs to start. I think Olynyk needs to be with that second unit, and that second unit really is when we seem to come back in games and make a push anyways. I think he would fit with them, but Kessler just needs to be matched up with Embiid. I think unless you're going to throw Azubuike on him, and that's not a good idea. So I think they will start Olynyk tonight. Coach Doc Rivers told the Philadelphia Inquirer that the 76ers need to learn how to play around the injuries. With Bede stepping up like he did and Tyrese Maxey scoring 26 points on 10 for 18 shooting from the field and 9 assists, Philadelphia found a temporary solution. It remains to be seen if that will work against the Jazz. If for no other reason that Embiid also was at less than full strength. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading this off NBA.com. Less than full strength on Saturday's game. Embiid said, "I don't know what happened." I'll try and do his voice. "I don't know what happened, but some days I can't lift my arm up. When I go block shots, I feel it. I really feel it. I don't know what's going on, but it's whatever." What do you guys think of that Embiid impersonation? Request to speak if you'd like to join in on this. I would love Kevin to speak first since he's been gone for feels like a month. But I totally dug the pictures of you being an astronaut in the ocean. So that picture will work as your profile picture. And are you willing to make any wagers? Because I don't think we're going to get 500 likes, but I think we could make a wager on someone scoring a certain amount of points or someone getting a certain amount of steals. And if you lose that bet, I think that should be your profile picture. What do you think? You are allowed to speak, but you have to unmute.
Hey guys, I missed you. I missed all the games. I haven't seen anything. I'm actually still in Puerto Rico. I haven't even got back to Utah yet. But,
shoot!
I'm just chilling in the hotel watching the Cowboys and the Green Bay game until the Jazz game starts. So, but as far as tonight's game, I'm glad to hear that Embiid's not at 100% because I think he's averaging over 30 points a game versus us and 10 or 11 rebounds with a couple dimes. So he normally shows up really well against the Jazz. So I'm a little worried about him. I don't think Olynyk is going to scare him at all. I think he will destroy Olynyk. So I'm hoping Kessler gets some good minutes because I think Kessler can at least make it a little challenging for him.
Yeah, I would totally agree as far as Kessler. Kessler's really the only one in my mind. I mean, unless you throw Azubuike to just foul him really hard a few times, that's the only time I see Azubuike getting in. But what do you think of my Embiid impersonation?
I mean, for a white guy, that wasn't bad.
Okay, before the game starts, I want you to find a quote from Embiid, and I want you to give me your best Embiid impersonation. And you can practice with the microphone off if you need to. So, Talen Horton-Tucker was a bright spot, obviously, in Washington on Saturday. He keeps improving each game, and I'm not going to say any names, but there's a KSL writer. I sent this to you guys in the private group chat, but he said that THT, the best comparison that he could come up with, and he thought it was a pretty good comparison, was Manu Ginobili. What are you talking about, bro?
On what planet? I didn't read that article, but that's
Manu Ginobili? And then, well, he posted it on Twitter, and I was like, who is this fool? And then I looked at him, and he writes for KSL. I'm like, what? How do these guys get these jobs? Like, do they even pay attention to sports? And the crazy thing is he had other people agreeing with him on Twitter. And so I said, I've been saying he reminds me of Darren Williams. And then NBA Jazz Chat, the guy with the goat, he's been in here a few times, says he reminds him of some guy that played before I was even alive for the Jazz. I can't, if someone can help me remember that name. Welcome, Manuel Rodas, Vic Matt at Vic Matt 3. He's got a nice BMW. Love NBA, Utah Jazz, of course, soccer, Real Madrid. If you want to speak, man, more than welcome. I believe this is your first time. So welcome, Tevin. I am letting you speak right now. So go ahead. Say whatever you want.
Hey, I'm trying to remember the name of that guy because I could have sworn you tagged me in it. I'm trying to find the name of that guy.
Yeah, it's in the private group chat. If you can look it up while I'm looking at this. So I'm going to read another quote. I love how NBA.com on their articles doesn't have any names who writes the articles. It's just field level media. I'm going to start looking into who's writers for them. But anyways, it says Conley envisions Utah bouncing back nicely after only its fourth loss in 14 games. What's his name?
Ben Anderson.
Ben Anderson. I'm going to have to look this guy up.
He's actually a pretty. It's like Andy Larson, Ben Anderson.
Oh, you're talking about the writer for KSL.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying we weren't going to call anybody out. I was talking about in the group chat. There was another comparison with THT. He used to play for the Jazz back in the early 90s, but I can't remember the player's name. That's the name I was looking for.
Howard Isley?
No. I know Howard Isley. It was I remember saying, "Oh, well, I wasn't even born." So, he kind of lost me on the comparison and I didn't get a chance to look him up. But I'll go back to Conley. His quote from last game is, "We got the right mentality. The right guys to turn it around and not let one loss lead to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in a row." Now, hopefully not, and hopefully nip it before it gets out of control.
Don't give us flashbacks to last year, Mike. Gosh.
Don't give us flashbacks to last game when you got switched on Porzingis every time down. Like, the more that I thought about that, it was just insane that we didn't try and adjust. And I think I think coach did try to adjust. We started helping, and then they just lit us up for threes. So I guess that was the adjustment, and it didn't work either.
Well, they told Porzingis to be like, hey, they're after like the second double, their coach was like, dude, you're getting doubled. Either work your fancy footwork or pass to the outside and start swinging it around, and it worked.
Yeah, give them credit. They were on fire. They hit their shots. And again, we only lost by 9, but just didn't look like the Jazz. I wanted to let everyone know that I'm also streaming this live on YouTube. I finally set it up. I don't think it'll be as fun as Twitter just because you can only chat. So like you guys can chat on there, but you can see my face, which I don't really like, but I'm trying to reach some different fans on YouTube. So if you guys want to follow us on YouTube at Jazzketball, I've pretty much own that name everywhere now. So don't even try and steal it. I'm gonna pull up the roster for Philadelphia, but who's another guy besides Maxey and Embiid that you guys think the Jazz need to keep an eye on? And don't everyone go at once either.
Sorry, repeat your question. I was just talking to my wife. What's that?
Who do you think that the Jazz need to focus on or might have an impact on this game besides Maxey and Embiid on Philadelphia?
Tobias Harris.
That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, knowing the Jazz, yeah, he'll have a career game. Anytime I watch him, I think he's just, I don't know, he's nothing special.
I only say him because I know I'm totally guilty of this. I know. I think it was before we signed Boyan. I was like, dude, we should go get Tobias Harris. He'd be a perfect 3-and-D guy to match, to be right next to Royce because he was really starting to come into his own with his 3-and-D profile. And then of course we signed Boyan, and after that I was obviously sold by Boyan.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree. I feel like he peaked in like right before he went to Philly in Orlando. I think that was kind of his best years. But I don't know. I feel like he could go off, but who knows? Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Montrez.
I was wondering where he was on Philly. Okay, no, yeah, Montrezl Harrell.
I was wondering where he went after LA. So.
Yeah, and don't forget former Jazzman Georges Niang. He's averaging, I believe, 2 3-pointers a game.
He's in Philly. I forgot about that. I thought he was in like Miami or LA or something.
Yeah, they've got a few former Jazzmen from last year. They've also got Daniel House, which he's a good defender, good hustle guy. They picked up PJ Tucker.
This is a trap game, guys.
No, we're not falling into the T words anymore. The tank and the trap we're not going to use on this podcast anymore.
Bad 4-letter T words.
No, I think this will be a great game. I almost feel like the Jazz had such a bad game last game because I feel like they were prepping for this game and probably overlooked Washington is my thought because they're not going to practice from the Washington game to this game. What?
It's because they listen to our pod. That's why.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure the whole team listens on the airplane to all of us. They're like, this Jazzketball podcast, we need to take some more notes.
The Jazz player you were talking about is Blue Edwards.
Boo Edwards.
No, Blue.
Blue. Kevin, you would probably know Blue Edwards. Yay, nay?
I know of him, but I don't know him personally. Why?
No, sorry, Kevin. We need
No.
we need nicknames for everybody. Just Tevin and Kevin. So they've got another guy, DeAnthony Melton. I want to say
Melton's a nice piece.
Yeah,
he's a nice guy off the bench.
I want to say
Court Maz is pretty decent.
he's played good against us.
Court Maz can go off if we're not careful. Like if we let him knock down 2 threes, yeah, we could be in trouble.
Who?
Court Maz, I think is his last
Court
name.
Maz?
Yeah,
I don't see him on their roster.
Is he not with them anymore?
No, he's on there.
I don't know.
Court
Julian
Maz.
Champagne, Michael Foster Jr., Paul Reed, Furkan Korkmaz? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, with a T and a Z. It starts with a K as his last name.
Yeah, Korkmaz.
Yeah, Korkmaz. Yeah, he's a knockdown shooter. If he knocks down like two or more threes a game, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some good players. Matisse Thybulle also.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Matisse. Bro, this is going to be a tough game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I think we can beat them, but we're not going to do it without Vanderbilt. We're going to need a solid game again from Lowry and then our bench. But I really think the X factor, it's going to be Kessler. So far, he's gotten up for these games against other centers, like, big time centers or household name centers. So even if he doesn't start, like if Olynyk's getting torched, we need to, I just expect coach to put him in this game, and it'll be a good test for coach. I also feel like Olynyk, if he's in, he's got to be hitting his 3-point shots. Like that's what you're there for. I kind of want to get off topic on the Jazz. Did anybody else watch the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills game today?
Nope.
Dude, the last 2 minutes was insane. Minnesota drove all the way down to win. They were down by 4, so they had to score a touchdown. Buffalo stopped them on the 1-yard line. Pretty much the game was over, and Buffalo, it was like the half-yard line. Josh Allen fumbles the football in his own end zone, and they score a touchdown off a fumble recovery and go up by 3. And so Josh Allen has 51 seconds, drives it down, and with 51 seconds into field goal range, he runs the ball and runs somebody over to get into field goal range. Kick it, goes to overtime. Minnesota wins the toss, and there was a bunch more stuff, but it was just a crazy game.
Interception by Josh Allen.
Interception by Josh Allen. That's what ruined it. But he also had an interception towards the end of regulation. He had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 1 fumble.
It's crazy because Josh has been so good this season.
Dude. Yeah, I've been trying to trade for Josh Allen in my fantasy league because he's won me. I've had him the last 2 years, and he's won me my fantasy football league. So
he played college ball here in Wyoming, and Bronco fans were like crazy about him not being drafted by them. Like basically why John Elway lost his job because he didn't draft him. So
yeah, that's a big slip up. And I do like Josh Allen just because he's from Wyoming and he never was like highly touted or on the radar for anyone. But I wanted to jump over to the former Jazzmen. Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are currently playing right now. And Minnesota is up 17. It's halftime. Let's pull up this box score and see what's going on here. Rudy Gobert
decided to sit out.
Who? Donovan
Mitchell.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, what a
chickened out.
Oh my gosh. Well, he did roll his ankle pretty good last game.
No wonder why they're down then.
Yeah, he rolled his ankle, the one that he kept rolling with us in the playoffs. And personally, I think he never recovered from that because he was driving in and they actually called a foul on the guy, but the guy didn't even touch him. And it wasn't like anything crazy, but he rolled it pretty dang good and was just banging the floor. So I think he re-injured himself and might be out for a while. Darius Garland, -6. Let's see. Darius Garland leads the way for Cleveland with 19 points. And then as far as the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell is leading them with 17 points. Gobert's got 7 points, 8 rebounds. So nothing crazy, but that did surprise me to see that Minnesota was up that much, but that does explain a lot with Donovan out. I wonder if they've become so reliant on Donovan scoring that they've just forgotten how to play because Oh, what's his name's out still too. Their other guard. No, Garland's back and Levert. Weird. But they don't have Lowry. They don't have Lowry, man, and they could really use Kessler. All right. Well, if anyone else has anything to say, go ahead and say it now, because if not, I'm ready for game time. Oh, Kevin, why how did you Kevin, how did you spoke earlier? What? Hang on. He's requesting. Can you speak now, Kevin?
Yeah, it's fine. The stupid internet in the hotel keeps dropping me from Twitter, so I have to keep rejoining. But I
Dude,
think it's working now.
it needs. I
He
feel like
slept in the Jazz hotel from last night.
All right.
I feel like this app needs like an alert button, like for when I'm muted or someone else is muted trying to request. It would be helpful. But then you get those
Yeah, it's been
spaces.
wonky the last few times. So
Yeah, then you get those spaces though with like 400 people, and it would be out of control.
Yeah, it would be a little crazy.
Especially that night we had the trolls join us. Oh, Kevin, you missed the trolls. That's what we forgot.
No, I didn't. I'm sure I missed some of them, but yeah, as soon as that one guy started spouting out the N-word, I was like, all right, this is stupid. There's no need for this.
I said Kevin again, but yeah, you were there. I need to just call you T-Man and Kevin K-Man, or unless you guys do you guys have nicknames? Big K.
Big K.
All right, I'll call you Big K, and I'll just leave Tevin, and then that way we'll know. So we got the other guest, Manuel. Do you want to speak? We would love to hear your voice and not in any way creepy. But you have to request to speak if you want to. Give us your take on what you think's going to happen tonight.
He's been throwing up some emojis, so you must have a take.
You requested. Here we go. Let's hear those vocals, boy. Or maybe a girl.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man? Where are you from?
I'm from Guatemala.
Oh, my brother married a Guatemalan just this summer.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, good to know.
What's your take on the game tonight?
The take on the game tonight, I think the Jazz gonna pull it off. As long as no one goes with the trees out there, that they can cover all the trees, I think we should be able to pull off the game.
Yeah, as long as Mike Conley's not guarding Embiid, I'm gonna agree with you.
That is correct. For sure. But you know what? Those guys are pretty good, though. I mean, they should be able to bring the game.
Yeah, it's surprising that, I mean, looking at their roster, they are pretty deep, and it's surprising that they're under 500. They're 6-7 right now. I don't know who they've lost to and who they've won, but you would expect that they would be doing better. And is James Harden just their fearless leader, and they can't win anything without him?
Jazz Tunes and JC Drip. Let's hear it.
JC Drip. Oh, what up, guys? We were going to end this, but now that you guys joined, we need to hear your takes. And you have no idea what we've talked about. So
James Harden is as much as a fearless leader as PJ Tucker is a I don't know, a big guy. I don't know.
I can't believe PJ Tucker's still in the league, dude.
Well, there's the allegations that they
Just like Rudy Gay
were trying to get PJ Tucker from Miami, and then Jimmy Butler. I remember Jimmy Butler saying something about it, not like necessarily that he was a traitor, but basically that he was a traitor. And that was perfect timing. Dude, I want to get a soundboard. If you guys watch the Monty show, there's two guys, and their soundboard is the funniest thing I've ever listened to. The guy that does a soundboard does it perfectly. So JC's Drip, let's go over to you, man. What's your take on tonight's game?
That's good. Real quick. All right. I just got in here. I just got off work. Real quick. Is the Monty show, like, are they liable? because I don't listen to them. I see them all over my timeline, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that they're bullshit real quick.
No, I like them. They film out of wherever the arena the Grizzlies play in, the Maverick Center. They do a live show every morning at like 6 a.m. to it's like a 3-hour show. So when I go into work, I throw them on while I'm reading emails and stuff. And
They're not even Utah based though.
No, they're Utah based. Yeah, they're in Utah. They seem to talk about the Jazz a lot, which I like because, like, if you listen to radio, it's always the Utah Utes or BYU football, and it's like I want to hear about the Jazz. So they do talk about the Jazz a lot. I know they talk football as well, but I don't know. I think they're funny guys. Yeah, so I would check out their live show. Their live show is probably better than their
BYU
Twitter.
football's trash, by the way.
Serious. So that there was another big upset last night. If you guys saw Washington come back, scored 10 points in like the last 3 minutes to beat Oregon, which is huge for the Utes. I don't know if we've got any football fans, and then last night also did anybody watch the UFC fights last night?
I watched all of them last night. That was a crazy. Pretty much every fight on the card was a good fight,
dude.
And then obviously that Izzy upset was crazy.
Yeah, and dude, I felt like my grandpa and the announcers like Joe Rogan and them were saying, "Oh, he's a champion. He's just doing this," and like the whole time I was like, "Dude, I feel like he's gonna lose." And there was a point where you saw his legs shaking, and then in the interview you watched today, he said, "Yeah, he took some good shots at my calves, but I've never seen Izzy like that. Like he lost his bounce." And then that other guy, what's his name? I'm forgetting now, but yeah, he just looks so much bigger.
He's a beast.
Dude, they were saying that the weight class was like 185, and his coach said that he weighed 215 by the time of the fight. That's a lot of weight to add. Like, I don't even understand how you cut that much weight and then add that much back on in that short amount of time.
Yeah, it said that they're both 6'4", and Pereira looked at least 2 to 3 inches taller just because of his stance alone.
Yeah, for sure. And he was just more muscular. Like Adesanya tried to pick him up and throw him down, and it was not happening. So it'll be interesting. They say there's going to be a rematch. It'll be a good rematch. I know that he's lost to him twice now, and then the other fight before that was crazy as well. But anyways,
Poirier Chandler fight, that was incredible.
Dustin Poirier, and he was fish hooking him. He was sticking his fingers in his mouth, trying to pull his head back.
Putting blood in his mouth on purpose.
Yeah, there was. Usually, I don't get grossed out by UFC fights, but there was one point he smashed his nose, and they put gauze or something up there to stop the bleeding. And the other guy, what's the other guy's name that lost?
So it's not Poirier or Chandler. Oh, was it Chandler?
Yeah, Chandler. Yeah. Chandler was on top, and it was like I don't know if it was slow motion, but the whole gauze and blood and everything like fell. I think like he blew his nose on purpose for all, and Poirier was on the bottom, or sorry, I'm getting names mixed up. So I'm so bad with names in the UFC, but he was on the bottom, and it went all over in his eyes and like his nose and mouth, and he rolled over, and he was just trying to get all the blood off of him, and I started gagging. Like I have never gagged before, but that was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, that is so freaking nasty.
It was bad, man. Yeah, that was one of the most bloody fights that I've ever seen, but it was great. I feel like, especially like casual UFC fighters or UFC viewers, that's what we want, right? We want to see a stand-up fight going back and forth, high entertainment. So yeah, that fight was awesome to watch last night. Real quick, the game starts in about 8 minutes. I think Jazz win tonight. I think we're going to have a good bounce back. It felt like we were just asleep yesterday in the game. I think Mike Conley is going to be instrumental if we're going to win tonight. Mike Conley has to have a good game, be more aggressive on the offense, hit his threes because that's something that he wasn't able to do last night. And we just got to be defensively stout. Embiid, I think he has a shoulder and an ankle injury.
Sweet.
Right? But I think this game is going to be won on fast break points. I don't know if you guys listen to Worldwide Wob, but he says that the Sixers have been really poor at fast break transition. If it's not Embiid on the ground complaining for a foul, it's going to be Harden on the ground complaining. So we really need to capitalize on those opportunities playing 4-on-5 basketball. But I think Jazz win tonight. I'm going to say Jazz by 6. I think it's going to be a close game down the stretch.
Yeah, and Philadelphia Sixers are actually favored by 3.5. I would say it's pretty close game as well. Their pace of play, like you said, is not fantastic. So I feel like if we do have a Olynyk and Lowry in there together, yeah, we gotta push the ball and run. I love that we finally have Sandy Molina in here. Hopefully I said that right. And we were talking about blood and gore because we usually never do. So welcome to the podcast. And yeah, give us if you want to speak, give us your take on what you think of the Jazz game. If not, I'm going to end this and we will see you guys after the Jazz game.
Hey, real fast, Jordan.
Yeah.
So I would say last night was probably our worst shooting performance of the season so far.
It was our worst performance of the season. Yeah.
I just hope that this isn't a sign of a cold streak that we're going to hit, because I look at our record and I look at all these close games that we won, and man, our shooting is just off the chain right now, and I'm just so terrified when it comes back down to normalcy. And I'm hoping that this isn't the sign, because I think if we can't go out there and shoot the ball well tonight, I really do think it'll be Sixers by double digits. We have to shoot the ball well to win.
Well, this game definitely will tell if the cold streak's coming. But last game, it just felt like I usually don't like to say this, but the ball bounced their way and not our way. Like there were good shots and shots that were like down and in and came out. And then there were plays for Washington that it's just like, how, like, what? Like a 3-point shot that stands out in my mind hit the front of the rim and somehow bounced up like really high and then fell in. And then Olynyk and Porzingis were fighting for a rebound and it went in. And it was just, it felt like the ball bounced their way on every chance that it had. So,
but I feel like all season long, the ball has bounced our way.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. And I want it to happen for 82 games. I don't want it to stop.
Yeah. Well, I think tonight's a good test. I think Philadelphia is a solid team where we'll see if it was lucky or not. I imagine these guys are pretty pissed off at the way that they lost. I'd imagine they'd watch film and with the way Coach Hardy's coached throughout the season, I feel like he'll be able to make adjustments. The big thing that stood out to me last game is Mike Conley just ended up on Porzingis way too many times, and it felt like we could not adjust to it. So let's go. It's game time, baby. I will see you guys after the game live here on Twitter. And go Jazz. Yeah.